pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everybody for coming tonight. Go ahead and do roll call. Deb? Here. Michelle? Here. Larry?
Here.
Megan? Here. Sarah? Here. Motion to approve the agenda as presented or amended.
Mayor, I'd like to request that we table the motion to discuss the electrical base rate until the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make the motion to approve the agenda tabling number 11.
Second. Motion to approve the agenda as amended. Any other questions? No, we'll go to vote. Deb?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
All right. That agenda.
Make the motion to approve. I'll second with one correction.
Okay. Motion a second.
On Strawberry Point Hardware, the second one that says Sunshade Seed, it's a typo there. It should be $80.98 instead of $20.98. Jesse has it corrected in the system. Otherwise, everything else is right.
80.98.
80.98. Yeah.
Thank you.
I do go through.
Any other questions? So we have a motion and a second, just with that little correction. Go to vote. Michelle?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All right, on to city administrator update.
Great, thank you. Just a couple of things. So we've got pretty full line item. One, want to congratulate John Fletcher. Recently graduated the police academy. Did very well. He's finally back in town. We're happy to have him back, and so congratulations to him and his family. And then next, I also want to congratulate the pool committee and management. Everybody did a really good job in making the pool season pretty successful. We'll have a full report on that probably in the next meeting once we have all the numbers worked out and some ideas for future years and stuff like that. So other than that, I'll keep the rest of my updates and the line items.
Mayor?
Yep.
I'd like to just second what you've said about the pool committee, having attended their meetings as a liaison from the council. I have genuinely enjoyed listening to their ideas and the positive attitudes that they have about the pool and about its possibilities and what its future might hold for us and for the good of the community. And I really have enjoyed them, and we thank them for their work this year.
Good, thank you. All right. We'll go to new business. Number 9, motion to discuss recent flooding and mitigation efforts.
Make motion. I'll second.
All right, motion second to discuss.
Great, thank you. So as you all know, there's been some extensive flooding in town from the heavy rains. And we've been talking to constituents who've been having problems with backup, and so been working with staff, and we've created a report that is in your packet. I just want to go through this report and just talk about what some of the issues are and what we're doing to try to mitigate them. So as people are talking about having sewage backup, there's two systems. There's a rainwater and groundwater system, and then there's a sanitary system. The sanitary system is designed to handle a finite amount of sewage each day, and it's largely based on how much water we pump into the water tower. We kind of know what the intake should be. What we're having issues with is a thing called I&I, which stands for inflow and infiltration. And so what I've been told by staff is that we have groundwater and rainwater that is infiltrating the sanitary sewer system, and what that does is it just commingles these two things, which puts an unnecessary load on our sanitary system, and and then when that load goes into the system that is only designed to handle so much water and so much waste, that's causing backup. So I wrote on the first page in your packet a short report on what I&I is. It's just a summary. Anybody who's here, there's copies up on the counter as well. On the back, on the second page, I wrote a memorandum that basically shows a graph. And if you can all pull up your graph, just want to go through a couple things. The green line on the graph is the maximum amount of sewer water that the system can take. The system is big enough, is powerful enough to handle the expected amount of sewage and waste in the city, and what it can't handle is when rainwater and groundwater gets into the system. So as staff explained to me that they believed that this I&I was contributing to backups in the sewer, I said, great, thank you for your opinion, now let's prove it. So we went back 2.5 years and we documented all of the inflows into the sanitary system. We looked at daily inflow. We then created a graph that is by month, going back to the beginning of 2023. You can see that there's a correlation here between the rain, which is in the red. When it rains heavily, the intake into the sanitary sewer also spikes. That graph is pretty compelling, and it says that we have groundwater and rainwater going into the sewer system. So I asked, okay, well, why is that, and how does that happen? And so there's a number of potential causes. First and foremost, sump pumps that are feeding into the sanitary system. A lot of households there are sump pumps that go into the sanitary system that is strictly against city code, but there are a lot of houses that do that. Then there's also groundwater, and the sanitary pipes for some of the houses are very old. Some of them are clay. If they crack or crumble, it's very easy for groundwater to get into those pipes and go into the sanitary system and back stuff up. And obviously that's all on in properties where we don't even know that it's happening. And then there could also be inflows from stormwater into the sanitary system in other places that we don't know about. So last year when we were doing the budget, we were working with staff to figure out what our capital improvement plan was going to be, and part of that was to dedicate money to do the investigation and have a company come to town to smoke test the sewers, try to identify what some of the larger problems are, whether it be on private property, public property, or a combination thereof. We're currently talking to 2 companies to try to get a contractor here that can do smoke testing. That smoke testing fills up an isolated part of the sewer system, and then they have people look for smoke, right? And the smoke comes out, and that tells us where the problems are. One of the companies also has a robot with a camera that can go in there and investigate things. In the city code, it is very clear that sump pumps emptying into the sanitary system are absolutely forbidden. And then the other thing is it says in the city code that people should have check valves on their systems to help fight against sewer backup. All of those provisions are laid out in the city code in your packet, so you can read through that section and see what it is. So I know that we've got lots of people here tonight that are interested in this. I know some have expressed an interest in speaking, so I thought we could have a discussion about this at the council level, and then maybe you can invite the public to make a comment. So I'm happy to answer any questions about the full report that I've provided you.
So smoking the sewer system, buying sump pumps, the smoke goes in the house, so how are you going to see that? Without having somebody in the house, are they going to tell you?
Yeah, Eric is probably better to answer that question.
Smoke testing, if you're not in the house, then you're not going to. but if you have a theory that there's a sump pump in there, the cameras will tell you. You're gonna know. It's not foolproof, nothing is. If everything's right and you're smoking, it should just wear out in your house, it shouldn't be an issue.
And then also you mentioned if there's cracked pipes and stuff like that, that the smoke will
Smoke will come up on the ground.
come right through the ground.
When you tell them they're hooked up to it, it'll come right up for you guys.
Yeah. And then how would the camera work? The camera would go in there?
So, camera's it's basically a little robot, you can set it right down the main, but if we have a suspicion that the laterals are bad, the service lines, they can actually launch up the laterals and check every service line from the main line to the house. Which is nice.
When was the last time that was done here?
As far as something like that, I don't know if that's ever been, that sort of work done.
They smoked, but not.
Not camera like that, when they did that, that wasn't, they didn't have anything to do that.
And the cameras work wonderful. That's all my company.
There's people, when you need the camera,
Yeah.
you're not gonna catch all of them. That's not foolproof either, there's gonna be stuff there. It's not,
true.
it's hard.
It'll show.
A lot of towns spend a lot of money, not found anything.
Yeah, I do also think that we need to do a lot of public education around this. Like, I'm not sure that people are aware of the city code. You know, you have to have a licensed plumber actually doing work. There can be no connection to the sanitary sewer, you know, without having one of our people approving that and making sure that it's all done properly. And there is actually a pretty stiff fine in the city code of $500 a day if it's found that, like, there's a sump pump that is going into the sanitary system. If that's identified, then those property owners will have a certain amount of time to rectify that situation. Otherwise, the city could start implementing fines. Obviously, we don't want to do that. We would rather just have the system fixed. And I have a hunch that there's a lot of property owners that probably have sump pumps going into the sanitary system, and they don't even know that it's happening. So, also a provision in the city code allows our city people to do inspections. So we could set up an inspection schedule, you know, and try to get through, you know, all of the 600 or 700 properties in town and find out, like, what's going into the sanitary system and what's going out into the, you know, where it should.
So before we go into people's homes,
Yeah.
are our pipes, is the main stuff working correctly?
That's what we're looking into.
So we're gonna do that first?
First.
Before we...
Yep, absolutely.
It'll be all pretty much.
It'll be good.
You're gonna know.
Yeah, it'll be in that area.
Yeah. And we think the smoke testing could help isolate areas that we need to look at so that we're not having to map every part of town where maybe there's not a problem. Like, we need to look at the biggest problem areas first and go from there. And again, we don't necessarily want to go door to door, but the nice thing is about this graph, like, any changes that we have and that we can do on city property, we should see immediate results because this graph is now just a living graph that gets updated every month. So if we make a fix and we can break this correlation between rainwater and intake into the sanitary system, we'll see it on the graph. Like, we'll know that it's working or that it's not working. So, you know, knowing these numbers is half the battle, and at least now we have a measurement that'll tell us that what we're doing is either working or we need to look in another place. So, you know, and it's obviously it's a big problem. I mean, these are very expensive problems. You know, when sewage backs up into a house, I've had it happen to us, and it's a nightmare. You know, it's a very serious situation, and, you know, the city needs to be doing its part to investigate the issues, and then if we do identify that there are properties that are, you know, a big part of the problem, you know, we also need to have those property owners informed that it's happening and given, you know, an amount of time to rectify the situation. You know, like I said, nobody wants to be issuing fines, but, you know, if we do find a big property that has a big system that's going into the sanitary system, like, that's something that we have to definitely fix.
You know, Mayor, I've discovered something this afternoon about this issue. We have a dehumidifier in our basement. I'm dumping that dehumidifier water down the toilet.
Now we know why everybody's flooded.
You're the problem.
You're dehumidified.
Actually, it's dawned on me, I didn't know that, I'm breaking the law.
Yeah.
By putting perfectly good.
Is Levi here? Yeah,
But,
it's,
I mean, people could be doing things that are just even relatively small, but if you add it up, you know.
I think there's a lot of people put their cell phones in the drain, not realizing that's.
Right,
going to-
right.
I was gonna say, a lot of it is probably just the education of it, like people.
Yeah.
So we'll take, like this memo from tonight and the graph, we'll do a Facebook post about it. It'll be even more extensive than this. It'll have, you know, instructions on how to go and look and see if you can find out where your sump pump is going to. You know, in the end, I'm pretty convinced that, like, there are just systems that are in place and people have no idea. These pipes go all over the basement and who knows what goes where. So if we can educate the public that, you know, if their system is part of the problem, you know, I think most folks would want to get that fixed as soon as possible. So we'll definitely do a big public education and probably have it be ongoing. And that'll also include check valves and, you know, where to get them, what kind of check valves, you know, to consider using. Public education on don't let anybody mess with your plumbing who's not a licensed plumber. You know, these are all things that happen, you know, small towns, big cities. I want to make sure that qualified people are, you know, messing with the pipes.
Any other questions from the council? Open it up to the public? Yeah, go ahead, Richard.
I had sewer back up in my place, and I had a check valve in too, and it just went right straight through it. I don't know what I wasted money putting it in there for. But anyway, with the amount of water we're getting in the sewer, there's got to be a massive problem. I mean, these aren't just little bitty leaks here and there, and some pumps are great to organize them or make those into law, but they're not making the sewer back up and shoot lids up in the air with that much pressure. There's got to be massive problems with those pipes. You said the sewer line and the, what's the other line? They're separate lines?
Yeah.
Well,
Supposed to be.
that sewer line's got to have massive holes in it, and I'm just wondering if, when these tests do show up how bad they are, is the city prepared to fix them?
Well, I would say first thing, we need to know what the problem is. So that investigation part is the first part. It's the most important part. You know, we don't know what we don't know at this point, and we have to identify where those issues are. So I would say that, you know, it's the fiduciary duty of the city council and the city management to fix issues that are, you know, that are problematic. We have to find those issues first, and, you know, there is money for capital improvements. There is money for this investigation. I would say let's investigate it and find out where those problems are so that we're not guessing and not wasting money on those guesses. And once we identify what the issue is, then we have to figure out what it's going to cost to fix and how quickly. So I would say, not speaking for anybody on the council, but everybody that I've worked with seems genuinely interested in fixing problems, and if that means diverting funds from other things to prioritize this, I mean, water in people's homes is a very, very serious thing, and I haven't spoken to anybody on the city council that showed no interest in fixing it like that. Everybody wants it fixed. We just don't know what.
The investigation will start, and we'll start the process of.
We're already in talks. Eric, what's the timeline for these companies?
So they're supposed to be getting some prices and bids, so it should be on the next council meeting if they can, and then get approval, and both companies said they'd be here.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're both companies working in other towns in the area, so they're going to be up here.
And with extensive experience in this very thing. Yeah.
Yeah, both from over 50 years companies.
So we gotta camera the storm sewers too?
I don't know the exact, like, obviously not being a plumbing person, Eric, can you touch on how much we're gonna camera?
Camera and storm sewers for what, I guess?
Well, if you have storm sewers leading into sewers, I mean, that's a problem.
That would show up immediately with the smoke test.
Okay.
It'll come right off the intake. That'd be the easiest one to find with the smoke test.
I mean, I know we have storm sewers that are blocked and not doing their jobs.
Okay.
Like the top of Westwood is a prime example. That flows no water, it just runs down the road.
River down through the backyard,
Yeah.
down the river.
Obviously, we must have a problem somewhere on Elm Street as well. I mean, they flooded lots of houses, I think, there. So I just.
Some of that problem was actually a private storm sewer in somebody's backyard, the intakes were all plugged. It didn't really existed. I wouldn't allow that issue.
The one on the other side of the road behind where my daughter lives, because you guys were back there that night, and it finally let loose, whatever happened.
We didn't do anything, it was just, it went down, we were checking the animals, is all we were doing.
And it just went down on
It
its
just
own.
took that long time to catch up,
And then that 5-inch rain, I didn't have any problems.
Well,
I didn't have any problems.
She did the other way, water, the other way, water, and rain on the second time.
when you had the problem, it was way over 5 inches and way faster than the biggest problem, it just didn't take it fast enough.
And I had the flapper deal, it's supposed to be blew it right out of the.
There's nothing foolproof.
So does that mean the lines down in that area where we built are small? I mean, compared to what there should be nowadays?
Well, not if you fix your eye, I don't know. If you fix your eye, it'll never go ring with that. So you can put bigger lines than you want, all you're just kicking the can down the road, we're gonna have the same problems later on.
Okay, so when somebody wants to build in town, is that gonna be their worry? If they're gonna put in one of these backup valve things and it still blows it, just like I'm having to do now. I gotta blow it out, I gotta put money into having it blow out in my yard, because I can't trust that whatever you guys are gonna do is gonna fix the problem in a short period of time. Next spring, we get a 7-inch rain, and it's gonna come back into my house. Everybody's gonna sit here and wonder that.
Yeah, it's like you want to repair what's already
So
done.
why can't the city do some of that? Put some of these valves that will blow off into the street versus backing up into people's houses. And when it gets the pressure that full, let it expand into the street, let it
Yes.
expand into the air.
Can you talk about how the system is supposed to work?
You'll be able to basically, look, it's, a line only takes so much water, I don't know.
Exactly, but a 250-pound lid can float, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. It should have been able to blow up before that lid could lift it. You know, that's what I'm saying, isn't there release valves?
Not in the sewer system, not in the gravity flow, no.
So they don't have, so we're gonna put one in to make that happen. And there isn't anything the city can do that on certain spots that, okay, we're getting a lot of pressure. Instead of, you know, like, Bob will have a vent on CO2. When there's pressure in that tank, it blows. It vents up into the air. So it doesn't cause damage or hurt anybody.
But I-
It blow up into the air.
But I think what the whole problem is there's more there than that's supposed to be anyway, so we have to figure out the root of where it's coming from. We shouldn't have a pressure system, or pressure issue to begin with.
But if your lines are, if you've got twice as many people in town than you used to have, your lines are gonna be old.
Too small.
They're not gonna hold that.
But
That's
also,
normal.
it's a rainwater issue too, where the rainwater is getting into the system and it shouldn't be.
Right? So
So,
that'll help alleviate some.
yeah,
But we get big rains like we've been getting,
Right.
7 inches of rain,
Right.
5 inches of rain, which is kind of uncommon.
yep,
Turn that common.
And they're becoming more common. So you're gonna have a lot more people worried about, am I gonna flood again? Am I gonna flood again?
Right.
You know, so we've gotta figure out something that's gonna alleviate that problem, other than everybody going around putting back valves. Obviously, that didn't work.
right.
That didn't work for us.
Well, if you put enough of them in, you're just moving the problem to the next person.
Right.
You're right.
Right.
So you're just adding more pressure. So if she's at 5 pounds of pressure, and then her neighbor puts one in, now you're at 10 pounds of pressure, and so you're creating a problem. I know for a fact, hers and Richard's valves are PVC, I have the paperwork, they are the highest pressure valves that are available, period. Contacted the commercial companies for the University of Iowa Hospital. They put cast iron ones in, and they hold less pressure than the PVC ones that we're putting here. If there's a code, I would like to see that code, because I've been told to already have a code. The company I work for, we put them in anyway, because Edgewood has a code.
Yeah.
And we know there's a problem here. So if there's been a code, there has been construction without other companies putting in backwater valves.
Yeah, it's in Article 49 of the city code. I can print it off for you after the meeting if you want to have it.
So who polices that? If you let another contractor that's licensed and they're not putting them in,
Yeah.
is the contractor responsible or the homeowner?
With all new construction, when...
I'm talking about new construction.
Yeah, I was gonna finish my sentence.
Okay?
On all new construction, they have to come in and get a permit. As part of that permitting process, they have to...
The homeowner,
whoever's building the new construction, has to have licensed plumbers doing all of the plumbing work, and we will provide them with the city code.
And that hasn't happened in the past?
I've been here a year and a half. It happens.
Were you told that?
What, a permit?
Yeah, when she got her permit, that they had to have a backfire valve?
No, Jack.
How about you? Richard?
What's that?
Were you told when you got your permit that you had to have a backfire valve?
No.
So that communication is not happening.
Yeah, everybody that gets a permit now for new construction is getting the city code. We ask for who the contractors are doing the work so that we have some recourse. All of that stuff is now in our permitting system, so I can't talk on what happened.
No, it's good that you're moving forward.
Yeah.
It needs to be addressed, obviously.
Sure, but even with the check valves, it's like, we need to get the rainwater out of the sanitary system. That is the cause of the backups, and so...
There are also footings on properties that are going into the sanitary sewer system, and some of those are extremely old properties, like the 40s and 50s. The company I worked for, the original boss, and some people here aren't going to know, but Mr. Foley was a contractor that time. He built a lot of houses in that direction. And all the footings, the water around the footings, went into the city sewer. They're not to the storm sewer.
Yeah, so will those
Probably
issues...
have to address it.
Yeah.
They'd have to dig up their whole.
You'll be able
Yeah.
to find those problems probably, but fixing
Yeah,
them.
but that's not as simple as, yeah.
Yeah.
So is this like our first method, like Diane, what you were saying, is that something we should be looking into before we're even doing the smoke test? Like where you can get rid of the water faster, or
The blow-off valves.
or something? I mean, is that something that we should be doing
Well, I don't know that we
first, or
should be
after?
blowing out sewage onto the streets like that. That's very dangerous.
If you go to the street, then you count it.
Exactly.
I don't know if the DNR would agree with that or not. Yeah.
We would be fine then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to tell me that you don't think this is a good idea, that I'm gonna do this to protect my house?
We're not saying that, Diane, but we do need to start with smoke testing to get to the root of the problem to be able to correct it.
But I'm gonna be doing this now before I get another rain. So I'm replacing $35,000 worth of flooring, and I had to pay $15,000 for a service master to come in and clean this house. I don't want it to happen again.
Absolutely, we don't want it to happen again either, but we have to get to the root of the problem in the city system to
And
be
so
able to
why?
fix the problem.
So give me another temporary solution that's not gonna come back to my house.
I wish that I had one for you, I really do.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking. Maybe
But
we
we
should
just don't at the moment, we have to get to the root of the problem.
Okay, so then do I need legal to step in for me?
I don't have that answer.
To do, like, we have to identify what the problem is.
Yes.
The smoke testing is the first thing we need to do to identify where the problems exist. We have to do that. The one expert in this entire room is standing right there. I trust his judgment. He said this is the first thing we need to do to identify what the problem is. I'm not a plumber, none of us are plumbers, he's a plumber, not a plumber, but the city works. You know, we need to do this to figure out where this water's coming from. The smoke testing should tell us where the water's coming from. And if it's coming from one major source, we can fix it. If it's coming from multiple private properties, we're gonna have to work with those property owners to fix it. But we can't just dump sewage onto the street. I think the DNR would have a pretty serious problem with that.
And I do need to call legal to find out, what do I need to do to protect
I mean, we're trying to do something to stop that.
I know you're trying to.
Yeah.
But what if I get another rain?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So-
I understand your frustration, I do. I've had my house seriously flooded twice. I completely know where you're coming from, and, you know, we have to do this work to find out where the water's coming from.
When the manholes go off, Eric,
Yeah.
isn't the sewer going out into along the streets anyway?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's different than
Rip it
us,
out of the house?
it's different than us
Probably
pumping it out
not.
onto the street, yeah.
Like, should we get a professional opinion on where we need to go first?
Well, that's
I mean,
what-
none of us are plumbers, right? Let's face it, we don't deal with this stuff day in and day
Right.
out. None of
These
us.
companies that,
We can hire engineers.
Well, I'm just saying, someone to come in and just give their opinion, like, this is what I think you should do first. You know, we tell them what we've had going on in town in several houses. I think that would be better than just throwing money at a smoke test. You know, maybe they have something that we're not thinking of. I mean, we're not professionals in
Companies
that.
that's been doing it for over 50 years that specialize in that, to be professionals.
So maybe he needs to come to a meeting so we can ask
Well, then-
him
And
those questions.
they both said they would. Yeah.
Wasn't the last one done in 2005, 6, and 7 when the line is the worst?
It is.
Do you have that information?
not at hand, but we could try to dig
So
through
it'd
the
be 20
archives.
years old, but it
Yeah.
would give you all a start of knowing that the problem existed 20 years ago and nothing was changed. But you would have, and I know that you're not on that council,
Right.
so that you would have the information to know prior,
Pinpoint
even
areas.
new people coming in, where problems were back then.
So the issue is, rainwater is coming in to the system
Correct.
and overflowing, so to speak, the sanitary sewer system. But the sanitary, I'm trying to figure it out myself. The sanitary system would handle what it's supposed to do if that rainwater wasn't coming in to into the sanitary system.
You
Is
don't
that
have
what
that.
I?
You don't have that answer.
Yeah, you can't guarantee.
Well, I don't,
No,
but that's
without
the
knowing.
problem,
You
though,
can't
isn't
guarantee
it?
me that it won't back into my house
Right.
again, so you can't guarantee me that 5 inches of rain might do it, 7 inches of rain might do it, you don't know.
But if the drains are working properly and rainwater's not getting into the sanitary system, it should resolve most of the problems, shouldn't it? It's because the two are combined that it's kind of.
You don't have to completely eliminate it, but you just knock it down, it's not gonna be a huge difference.
Yeah.
Well, and I think most of us are Westwood people, or on that road. I mean, is it a problem with there's so much water coming down that road?
And yeah, the streets are flooded going over the manhole, absolutely.
Well, and that's what I mean,
I remember-
we take on 3/4 the town of water. down
Right.
there.
I mean, we've had mapping done where they track the flow of the water and it all goes that direction. Like, you guys are the low spot in town, like, I don't know.
Am I up yet?
That's up to her.
Yeah, go
Am
ahead.
I up yet?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to just go over a couple of things. I prepared a document I'm going to give Jessie one so that she can enter it into the records. Then in just a little bit, I will have a handout for the rest of you. I admire our city administrator taking this on right now, but it's after the fact. I've had since October 24, I've had 4 extensive backups that have caused me headaches, loss of work, all kinds of money, all kinds of terrible things. Okay? And the problem has existed, and finally we're dealing with it somehow. I don't think we have the answer yet, but somehow. So let me go through this. It's lengthy, it's 6 pages long. I put some thought into this. You can tell me to quit if you want me to quit. I don't think I am out of line. Good evening, thank you, Council Mayor Evans, Administrator Andrews, for the opportunity to address you and voice our concerns. I, we have come to share with you what we've experienced the past 3 weeks at West Central Strawberry Point. We are a group of frustrated, anxious, nervous, upset, disappointed, emotionally and physically worn out, impatient, and now, as you can tell, borderline mad taxpayers of Strawberry Point. We're also here to tell our stories in hopes that the council will quickly address and remedy our problems. What's the problem? The past 3 weeks have taken a tremendous toll physically, emotionally, and financially on all of us. We have experienced in each of our homes severe water, sewer damage due to the inability of the antiquated city sewer system to handle the flow of water, sewer. Several of us have experienced up to a foot or more of raw sewage that backed up into our basements or first floor living spaces. We recognize that the city experienced an unprecedented amount of rain in a very short period of time the third week of July. However, if the storm drains and the sewer lines are separate as they should be, then both systems should be able to handle this amount with minimal interruption. It appears that some storm runoff water penetrated the sewer lines, causing a rapid increase in flow and pressure through the sewer lines. That's been our discussion so far. This rapid increase in flow and pressure running through inadequate sized lines forced major backups in many of our homes, which caused major damage and loss of valuable property for all of us. In one home, the pressure was so intense, and I didn't know if it happened to you either, Richard. In 2 homes, the pressure was so intense that it caused their safety check valves to fail, leading to major flow of sewer water onto first floor living spaces. In addition to loss of property, this sewer water also created unhealthy and hazardous living conditions in our homes. In our basement alone, after the water had receded, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of sewer sludge was left that needed to be cleaned and removed. There's nothing more disgusting than to clean up someone else's poop. Several of us even had to contract a service master and other cleaning companies because the mess was so great and the damage so extensive. This led to another additional expense that we incurred due to the system's inability to handle the flow safely and efficiently. Many of us have heard over and over again that the major cause of our problem is some citizens are emptying their sump pumps directly into the sewer lines. This may be true, but I have a hard time believing this is the main culprit. No pun intended. If this were true, many other parts of the city would have experienced the same damage as we have. We also have been told that there is a city ordinance that states this is not acceptable practice. After an extensive search, and I'm no city ordinance wizard on the computer, I was not able to locate this document in a word for word. Now I can go back and look at Article 49 and find that. Part 2, what is not the fix? It has also been suggested to many of us to install checker backflow valves into our systems. We personally have a major problem with this suggestion. Why should we incur another very costly expense because the city's systems are not capable and adequate to properly handle the flow of runoff water and sewer debris? I feel this is a scapegoat the city is using to avoid troubleshooting and solving the current problem. As a 42-year taxpayer in this community, I think it's a reasonable expectation that our infrastructure can handle loads placed upon them so incidents like this do not occur. And if not, the city will work fast and hard to remedy the problem. 2 weeks ago, I stood before this council describing our awful situation at 207 Cherry Street. I left that meeting feeling like everything I expressed fell on deaf ears. Christy and I think all of us here, did not receive one phone call, did not receive one visit, or did not receive any word of concern from any council member, mayor, or administrator. This is very disturbing and disheartening and shows a complete lack of concern for the trauma we have been experiencing. We voted many of you into office because we truly thought you were compassionate and caring people that have the citizens of Strawberry Point in your best interest and that you would bring great change to this city. By change, I'm talking about creating a town that cares for every citizen and is working hard to improve the living conditions, appearance, and vitality of this town. The potential is great, but not if you don't take care of the people first. I'm greatly disappointed in your lack of action and your care and concern for us, your citizens. On Sunday, August 10th, many of us experienced round 2 of sewer backup. Was this communicated to any of you? It only was 3.5 inches of rain this time. All the money we paid Service Master, $2,375, literally went to waste. It didn't go down the drain because it couldn't, because sewer water was bubbling out. Part 3, the fix. Number 1, make a legitimate commitment to address and fix the infrastructure problem, and it looks like we are on the right track finally. Create a specific line item in your budget for below-ground infrastructure maintenance and repair. Divide the town into 5 sections and commit to evaluating the sewer lines and storm drains in each section over a 5-year period. Smoke and camera each section to evaluate the condition and then begin necessary repair and maintenance. Make it a budget priority. I suggest you start with Park Avenue to Cherry Street, Buffalo, Locust and Hill Street, since that is where the major problems exist at this time. Number 2, in the meantime, I'm recommending that the city, as a good faith gesture, pay its residents that have suffered major loss due to sewer backup up to $1,000 toward the purchase and installation of a check back flow valve. Number 3, residents that have had sewer backup and have had to use outside companies for cleanup, reduce our next monthly electric bill by 75% to allow for all the extra electricity that we've had to use to run cleaning equipment and drying fans. Again, a good faith gesture. Again, I'm going to hate to see my electric bill when it comes next month. Number 4, search the current city files to see if you can find a file folder located that was created by former city administrator Jim Knott. It is titled Storm Sewer Smoke Testing. This will give the council some much needed information to begin the evaluation process. Many of you in here don't remember Mr. Knott, but he was a very meticulous administrator that kept great records. Number 5, those residents that are currently emptying their sump pumps into the sewer system should be quickly identified and fined $100 per month, and I didn't know the fine was higher than that. Great, let's get going with that. Should be identified as quickly as possible and fined whatever the code says per month until the violation is corrected. Number 6, residents that are discharging their low grass into the city streets causing storm drains to plug should be fined $75 per violation. This could easily be checked and managed by our law enforcement officers during their drive around towns. All you have to do is drive around today and the grass is thick. And it's right into the sewer, right into the storm drains. Number 7, council, mayor, and administrator show some empathy. A phone call or visit to let us know you're concerned and working hard to resolve the problem would have been very reassuring to us. This is a very small and inexpensive gesture that would go a long way in changing the culture and climate of the council-citizens relationship. Number 8, re-examine your decision-making process. The squeaky wheel does not always need the oil. As an educator of kids for 42 years, our decision-making process always revolves around the question, what is best for kids? Do you, the council, mayor, ask the question, what is best for our citizens, before decisions are made and voted on? If you're presently not doing that, I encourage you to adapt this approach as you move forward. Sometimes the squeaky wheel just needs some very minor adjustment. Number 9, make a commitment to improve your transparency and communication. I would like to remind you that you were elected to be servants and representatives of the citizens of Strawberry Point. And again, you're putting stuff on Facebook, but not a lot of people. I'm not a Facebook person, so that does me no good. Absolutely does me no good. Okay? So find another way to publicize. Find another way to put the information out where people are going to get it. Make a poster and put it at Navy's. Make a poster and put it at Casey's. Make a poster and put it at Ron Cow's. Big poster so people can see it. Because those people will go to those businesses and they will look at that before they look at a Facebook post. At the present time, we're not sure if your commitment to excellence in this town is taking place with 100% of your attention. I want to thank you for your time. We look forward, as a concerned group of flooded citizens, we look forward to watching you work together to develop a solution that will resolve our sewer backup issue. Poop belongs in the sewer system, not in our homes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
So, I have a question back to the storm sewer. The water's coming down behind our houses because the storm sewer up on top of Westwood can't take the water, and it's coming down. I mean, my backyard twice has been like a pond. The problem is it's washing my dirt away around your storm sewer. If you don't do something, if you don't get down there and put rocks and stuff in the back of my yard, you're gonna have another tube in that creek. You already got one in there, and it's been there for a while. So, you know, it's not just my problem, it's the city's problem. And there's gotta be a problem up above. I mean, it's like a river. Dino's seen pictures of it. He's been down and looked at my problem. But something has to be done. I'm a new homeowner. I didn't realize any of this until after the last month and a half. Now I know why I had to put a new floor in my storage shed, because it was all rotten out. The whole was underwater. I had to lift up all my fertilizer bags and everything, so that doesn't get wet. That's the least. I don't have the problems they got, but I have a problem where your sewer drain pipe's going to be washing out. And that's at least a 2, not 2.5 foot storm sewer pipe. There's no reason that's not taking the water. Somewhere up above, it's got to be half plugged or something that it's not taking it all. There's no reason for that water to come down behind our houses like a river.
Yeah, I happen to own the property where everybody says it's like a golf course. It looks like a torn up golf course, because I can't even mow it anymore because so much water is coming across it all the time. So, his problem is my problem.
My problem as well. I live on Westwood.
So, I mean, if everybody came in, so, I mean, you know exactly what areas have been flooded, so you know which houses have been flooded throughout all that.
So the question remains, do we think that the smoke testing, I mean, we're on path to contract with one or both of these companies to do smoke testing, to do camera. If the council doesn't think that that's the best move and wants to have somebody come in and present, we can do that. Obviously, it adds time. So I kind of need some direction on where you guys are at, and if you think that the smoke testing, which is what we think needs to be done first, if we're comfortable with that, or if not, we need to change gears pretty quickly. So need some feedback.
I kind of like, looking up the old smoke test to see what has gone wrong. That obviously we haven't changed anything. Might be a good place to start and look. I also think that you said yourself, Eric, that that's not a 100% guarantee that we'll even find anything.
No.
You're going to throw $20,000 at something or whatever it may cost, and we may find nothing. Like, I guess my opinion is we need a professional to tell us what to do.
A professional what?
I don't know. An engineer? I don't know.
These companies are professional.
That's what these companies
Professional
are.
people that.
First
Yeah,
of all,
smoke,
you
great.
got a sump
The
pump.
professional what?
You know if it's going in the sewer or you're pumping in your yard. Because if you're pumping water outside, you're gonna have a pipe outside, and the water is coming out into your yard. If you've got a sump pump and there's no water coming outside, then you have it in the sewer system.
Right.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that have it. And you're not gonna find it unless you visually go in each house and look. Because I was on the council, we did it. Doug was on the council, we did it. The smoke, you can't see it unless it's outside. It doesn't do any good because it stays inside,
So, just help me understand, so you guys did it, how long ago was that?
The first time I was on the council.
Okay,
About
20 years, okay.
So
So,
2005, 6, and 7, right?
okay,
So he did know there was a problem.
I would say, so what resolutions came from that?
None.
None. We didn't find anybody, because none of the smoke, the only smoke we found was e-trowels going into it.
But you said you went door to door.
No.
Oh.
That's the only way you're gonna find it.
Oh, okay.
Knock on door, let come and look, see if you have a sump pump.
Well, you can
So-
do that, but what if we have storm sewers going into the sewer?
We know the area, like, why are we not concentrating on this area?
But the problem with that area is that section of town takes everything on.
That's the low spot.
Right, yeah.
Problem.
But have you guys been down there when it rains? It was probably 10 feet deep that day.
Really?
I mean, it was a lot of water, and it's coming from half the town.
Halfway up on that bank.
So
All the way up
if
to
we're
the
not
bottom.
putting all that water in that spot, would we have problems? I don't know, you know.
And also, I'm not saying anything against you guys doing it, but that was 20 years ago, there are advances, and there are cameras now, so that maybe we can get more information.
Right.
But I still think you need to go door to door, ask permission to enter, to go in the basement and see if they have a sump pump. I mean, people's got sump pumps, you know.
And that may be
Just
part of what we
drive
have to do,
downtown,
but.
You've got sump pumps that's pumping water, it's out in the curb or it's out in the backyard.
Right.
So you don't have to get in town.
Right.
If there's a pipe outside, you know it without getting.
Right, right. So the people that do the camera and the smoking are the same company, Eric? So.
They're under investigation.
I mean, we're gonna have to have their contract on the city council agenda in the next meeting anyway.
Right.
So would it maybe be a good idea to have them come in, present their contract, you can ask them the technical questions and see if you're satisfied with their expertise and ideas?
Sure.
I mean, obviously, they don't wanna waste their time either, so,
I mean, is it something, these people are concerned if it rains again, which could happen tonight, tomorrow, who knows?
could happen anytime, yeah.
Is it something that we can push ahead, I mean, and waive a right to another meeting and try to get it figured out?
We could talk to them and try to have a special meeting next week, if you wanted to do something like that, we certainly can. Yeah, we also are at the mercy of their availability, so
Sure,
we'll have to call
totally
them
understand, right?
first thing in the morning and ask them, what.
But I was just thinking if we could move it ahead and not have to wait the 2 weeks, it would be better than
Yeah.
waiting more time.
Well, even if we can get, I don't know, the money that you're gonna spend on doing that, you could still start, I know you guys got plenty to do, but if you could get somebody to go door to door and say, hey, you have a sump pump in your house. Those that wanna hand through the door and say, yeah, I do, can you show us where it's pumping out? So if I can't find it outside, where is it going to?
Right.
And then let them know, okay, you gotta get this out of the sewer, and you've got this much time. I mean, you're talking about hiring a company to do that, $20,000, it could take somebody hired to go door to door and find out how many people will let you in, how many people, be honest and say, yeah, I just don't know where to pump it out at, I don't know how to get it there.
Don't go at noon or 1 o'clock afternoon, go after 5 o'clock when people are home.
Right.
So you can get in the houses.
And for heaven's sake, I did that last night, going door to door and on people going and saying, hey, we're gonna have a meeting, you wanna come up? I can do that from my street, you guys got some pump, where is it at? I'm okay with doing that, everybody wanna do that, to help out, to find out, this person doesn't have some pump. I can see that pump right out of their yard, this person does, why do they have to pay $20,000?
Well, the smoke testing isn't just looking for sump pumps, it's looking to see if there's a catastrophic issue somewhere.
Correct, if that's something in there.
Ideally, some pumps aren't a problem, we find them.
Right.
Sort of stuff, that's perfect, that's the best situation you could ever have, going door to door is not gonna find it. We need a company to investigate.
Yeah. Because you're establishing, finding out what's in the infrastructure.
Right.
Yes.
Not what's visible, but.
I'm not saying it's all the private stuff, there's probably issues with the city main too, we know that.
You got 260.
But you got to, you gotta do
Can't
everything.
do 12.
We're talking about that, is
You gotta start
the part then first, and not the sump pumps coming into the.
Anything we can do to slow it down.
Right.
So.
I worked on my grandma, she
she lives on Franklin, and her gutters were plugged up, and I took a leaf blower and stuck it in the tube of the blow, and I couldn't find air coming out the yard anymore. I went in the house, air was coming out, drains in the basement. So there's a lot of houses in the sixties, they pump the gutters into the sewer.
The gutters and that stuff is what's causing big problems, because that's the fat,
Right.
service.
And that's where your smoke test, if they're hooked up to the sewer, you're gonna have smoke coming out of your gutters.
If you can stop that fast surge that happens immediately after hard rain, it solves a lot of issues. The slow drop off later, we can deal with that. It's when it hits, and you've got 400,000 gallons going to the lift station right now.
Megan, where do your east spots go?
Just out on the ground.
Okay, where do your beans go? Jean, where do your east spots go?
On the ground.
When I first built on Westwood, the code, when we got the permit to build, the east spouts were not, because of looks, were not allowed to be out on the ground. At that time, the houses had to be a certain distance from the street, all your east spouts had to go into a tile system, which most people went right into the city sewer.
So that back 50 years ago, they wanted you to do that.
Yep.
The city wanted you to tie everything you could.
That's right, we had, that was the
So we're dealing
rule
with that.
on Westwood Avenue.
So now we're trying to get things back.
You've identified those houses.
What's that?
If you figure out all those houses, that you come over, they're going into the tree.
And they're going to the city sewer.
It's not
And that's a
gonna be
little house, so we did that.
It'll be extremely hard.
Well, that was the park and zoning back then.
They probably look at that creek.
I feel like we probably have lots of problems and several houses, you know,
But this is,
causing it.
All right, so let's, can we summarize? So, because I need direction.
Yeah. Let's talk to them in the morning and, you know.
Yeah.
If we need to get things moving sooner, then.
Got it. So took very careful notes from the public input tonight, and thank you everybody for coming and telling us that. So to summarize, we're going to call these companies tomorrow, see if they're available to come and present their contract to the city. If they're able to come earlier than the next scheduled meeting, we'll schedule a special meeting for it, and then obviously we'll inform the public and then we will ask them the technical questions, and the city council should at that point determine if they have the expertise to be giving that advice, and if it's a compelling argument to spend the money to do that. And then in the meantime, I also need some feedback on how we want to investigate door to door. You know, as you can imagine, it's a very touchy subject, knocking on doors, wanting to inspect basements and stuff like that. There is a provision in the city code that allows us to do it. There's also a provision in the city code, and you'll be happy to know the fine is $500 per day after a reasonable amount of time if there's a sump pump going into the sanitary system. So the city code does have some bite to it, but we do need to be able to go door to door and inspect homes. And so if the council is okay with that, it is the city code, so but I definitely need some feedback, because that is a sort of an egregious sort of methodology. So
Maybe we need to come up with a little bit of
That's
game
not
plan.
just cell phones,
that's
rain gutters.
everything, rain gutters, yeah.
So maybe we need to come up with a little game plan to get that coordinated.
We could also maybe do it, we might be able to use some technology too, like we could do an intake form, have people submit pictures, just to try, even if we had 50 or 60 properties do that, that's gonna cut down on our time significantly.
Properties got shut down,
Yeah, so we'll figure out a way, and then we'll have that presented at the next meeting, whether that's a special meeting or the next regularly scheduled meeting. But is everybody fine with that?
Yeah.
All right, I see
Could it be
some-
handled similar to the water lines coming into the basement? Or that,
Like,
questioning all the,
Yeah.
yeah, we could handle it like that.
We can try it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
On the 600 some services, I think we got 200 people to reply back.
Yeah. But it'll help us to focus on, you know, if we do get
Right.
replies
Yeah.
with pictures, we can take those people off the list for in-home inspections, right? It-
Right.
it'll
The
help
drone
us to-
companies that you could hire to watch when it's raining,
Yeah.
the drones will go in the rain.
Well, it wasn't that many years ago, we had that problem over here on East Mission. There was a resident that the line wasn't getting flushed out because when they did the street, the hotel's rainwater used to go down and flush that out. Well, then when things were changed, that had to stop, and then their line wasn't getting flushed anymore. So there was a drop off coming out of their house before it went into the city's line, and it was piling up, so to speak. It
That
piled
would
up.
be why it's helpful for you to find Jim Mass papers and your 2005, 6, or 7 papers. Because then those would have already been, that would already be information you have.
Yeah. Eric or Justin, do we have any idea where we would find those archives?
First off, when they was lined and everything,
Yes.
you know, 506.
Yeah.
There's a copy of it somewhere, 'cause I looked through it as well. It has, I can't remember which section of town it is, when Jeff and Mark were working for the city. They mapped out a grid, I think it was about the same time they were redoing the streets, that the city kind of utilized that to redo some of the sewer and water locator, but also extended part of redoing the lagoons, was part of the I-9 in town. So I think there's some lines they cameraed and basically sealed off.
I got a copy of the map
of that.
I've been lined.
Yeah, so it's worth it. And I don't think they smoked it, if I recall, I had asked Jeff about it. And I think it was maybe the previous, when Brad did it, I don't know the year when they smoked it, but we looked for it, I asked Brad, he doesn't know that, so.
All right, well, we'll prioritize some staff time to try to find those documents. They're not digitized, I'm almost 100% sure of that, so they're probably in the archives somewhere. So we'll start digging through those boxes and see if we can find them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for your input. Okay, so we'll move forward from there. On to other business.
We have one more, the...
Oh, I'm sorry, yep, motion to schedule a public hearing for the elimination of the city treasurer position.
I so moved.
Second.
All right, motion and second?
So, yeah, what I'm looking here for is to schedule a public hearing for September 3rd. That's would be 2 meetings from now, well, maybe 3 meetings from now, depending on... and then in your packet, I gave a memo about the...
Yeah.
What was that?
Just 1 meeting from now, the next meeting.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Then we have to do it, I'm looking at, can you put, sorry.
Gotta do it further out than the 17th.
All right, so let's do it on the 17th then, because we need public notice of 14 days. And in your packet, there is a memo that talks about the segregation of financial duties. A proposal in here somewhere, it's towards the back. Yes. So basically, it's a 7-point system that we tested today. Deb came in and we did a reconciliation. As painful as that was with our current software, everything does balance. We've got reconciliations going back, everything balances, but this is the suggested, I've talked to auditors about this is the suggested way to, look through and make sure that all of our finances are balancing. So if I can just go through this really quickly, the deputy clerk is responsible for entering, the debits and credits into our accounting system. City administrator is responsible for downloading the bank statements and performing the reconciliation of the accounts. Put it here by the 12th of each calendar month so that we can get it in the second meeting. Then there's a report group. Deb and I went through the reports today and figured out which ones would be best to put in the packet. These are basically all the transaction reports without the detail about who's getting what, so on and so forth. And then the mayor or the mayor's designee, we can talk about who's going to be doing this on a monthly basis, is responsible to meet with the city administrator. person will come in, we will log into the bank system together, because it's one thing if I'm producing a bank statement and a reconciliation report, we have to have a way to ensure that the bank statement that's on the reconciliation report is a true copy. So the mayor or the mayor's designee will come in, we will log in concurrently, download it, look at the two statements side by side to ensure that it's an edited version. And then the designee will be responsible for reviewing the reconciliation report and signing off when satisfied of its accuracy. And then the administrator will present the reconciliation report and the other monthly reports in the city council's packet. So this is a very good system, and again, suggested by our auditors to be a good practice, and this will completely eliminate the need for that position. So if you're all good with this, obviously we'll schedule the hearing for, what was the date? 17th. Then I'll bring this as a resolution, and this will be all included in the resolution that we'll be discussing at that time.
Is that enough time to get it off, like, the ballot for November then?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll let them know that it's the
Okay.
intent
Okay.
that we're doing this,
Okay.
and then obviously they'll want to see the resolution once it's done, but that's not a problem. Yeah, and if it is a problem, we can put it up in in an earlier meeting.
Sure.
If we have to. But I think it'll be fine.
All right, any other questions? Motion and second to schedule a public hearing for the elimination of city treasurer position on September 17th.
So moved for the public hearing on September 17th.
Second?
All right, motion and second. We'll go to vote. Larry?
Yes.
Megan?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Thank you. And now we'll go on to other business.
No other business on my part.
Are we going to put something out there for our open council seats? Because I think information can go out August 25th.
Yes, I'm waiting to get the packet from the county with all of the details and how to nominate and do all that stuff. So they're supposed to be sending a packet of information. Once I get that, then we'll push that out on Facebook and other means. Maybe we'll put some posters around. But I don't want to pre-publicize something and then have to fix it.
Maybe we should call and get it. Can you call her?
Yeah, I can call her tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's usually on our website too.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, but I looked a couple weeks ago. I know last time we got an email with the packet, so I was just expecting that again.
Sure.
Michelle, where did you find that information today that you had on
County
the
website.
website?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and do you know when they must have just recently published it?
I don't know when
Yeah.
they published it, but I found it today.
Okay, got it. They might have just pushed it up, because I know I looked last week and didn't see it. So.
I know that the school board had advertised, so
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn? Second. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Just some things for me to sign.
Yes. No.
No, that was kind of.